We're back for part 11, I believe, of Conan. Um, Conan. We are now within the within Grayven's sort of dark prison. That's what it's called. So we're in the dark prison. Conan has all of his armor. He has all of his magical abilities. We have our hard dark. We have our two-handed weapons skills maxed out. So we've mastered everything we need to master. We're now going, and we've left the spire behind, which is where we just were. Leaving all of that statuary and rubble and leaving those annoying spirit armors behind. There's quite a few in front of us. There's definitely, I don't know if there's any more statues left, but they have been replaced by ink men, the same ink guys that the Kraken created. They're pretty interesting, so let's get into it. The ink guys are interesting because at times while they're attacking, they will take virtually no they'll take virtually no hit stun, so attacking them will not actually stop them from attacking you, which can be really frustrating, especially if you're in the middle of a long combo and the guys just decide to attack. Cool. So this part of the level is interesting in that you have to, so we could sort of run around and we could do a whole bunch of stuff, but if you'll notice, so we've got these ink men here. So we got that 4 combo. So we have these 4 dudes here, these 4 spirit armors. They will not activate or awaken until... So now they also have new abilities where they can be really annoying. The armors at least. And they can hit us a whole bunch with projectile attacks. What we want to do is we actually want to destroy all of the purple spirit armors. There's 3 of them in this area. And we want to make sure to get rid of them as soon as possible so that we can continue on. Oh, they're so annoying. But the hand of Mitra's hand will give us a fudge ton of magic, so we don't have that fully loaded up yet. Also, Stygian Skewer is a great way to take these guys out and gain health, because they do a surprising amount of damage for how small and annoying they look. Alright, so I believe that there might be one more purple guy over here. We parried his butt, and now we actually get to go through... Oh, no we don't? Oh, that's right, that's right. So we actually have to defeat all these guys first. So we're going to cast Rain of Fire. And once all these guys are defeated, we will get access to the next area. Cool.
This city is under the ocean.
I believe I might have missed a treasure chest over there. So if you are looking for a treasure chest and you've come this far, it might be best to actually restart the checkpoint. We're not so far, obviously, that's going to be a big deal for you. But I believe that there is a treasure chest a little they're in another area of the level, sort of off to the left, which we never really not figured out, but that we discovered. Explored, that's the word I'm looking for. So this area there's a ton of the goop, and so that will hurt you quite a bit if you stay in it for any long amount of time. But the reason that we're actually fighting all these guys, you're probably, because it is a frustrating and annoying experience as opposed to a fun one. We actually have to defeat all these guys if we want to awaken the statue over there who's blocking our path. So we have a couple of pools. We have some statuary that comes to life. And we could use, actually, I think there's a couple other better locations to use the Rain of Fire. A couple other really frustrating spots. Cool. We just have this blue one here and maybe a couple other ink Inkmen if I didn't defeat them previously. Yeah. Great. Let's see if he comes to life. There he is. Now if we can draw him out, we can actually avoid fighting him completely, which is actually kind of fun. So we gotta get him to do his attack. And boop. Now this part killed me probably 10 times when I was trying it for the first time, and I wouldn't be surprised if it killed me here. Nope. Okay. So that falling thing, that falling walkway is actually really difficult to navigate if you haven't done it before. So we have all these Inkmen. We actually don't need to fight any of them. So let's just hurry up to the end of the game. There's no reason really for us to take them on. Also, there's a save point there, but if you get any closer than this, if you kind of walk into that little pavilion, all of the spirit armors will wake up. That's not really what we want. Okay. We missed that jump. It's pretty annoying. But we start right back at the beginning of that little that area. So it's not that big of a loss. So you notice that like a lot of the times that I've died, it hasn't been in combat. It's been like when I was fighting the sand dragon. It's literally the platforming. This game was not built with platforming in mind. There's a lot of fairly annoying portions of it, like these jumps, which are not difficult on their own, but for whatever reason the game makes it difficult, either eating inputs as you attempt to jump, or things like that. So there you go. That's what we wanted. We wanted to grab hold. This part's actually very annoying. This is a long fight. If you can parry, so this is a long mandatory fight. I've looked for ways to shorten it. It's not really possible from what I can determine. Basically you have to fight, I believe, 3 rounds of these dudes. And things just, it's annoying. It's just annoying. There's no way around it. And these guys are so annoying if you don't have easy block breakers. So we have another little group of dudes being annoying. One of the things that I wish that the two-handed weapons did better was handling large groups of enemies. Like you typically will end up auto-targeting one and then knocking him away from the crowd, so you stop hitting multiple enemies at once. Okay, so I think, okay, here these guys are. And you know what, just for your information, I believe there's a treasure chest over here. Either that or hell. Yeah, treasure chest. So let's grab this and watch all these guys swarm the living shoot out of us. So once you destroy these, you will awaken the statuary. These guys are easily parryable after the first initial strike. These guys are difficult to parry because all of their attacks are block breakers. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do here is we are going to hopefully get this guy over here quickly. We want to get all of these guys with the rain of fire. Nice. So we got it for us. And then we have to grab this guy and toss it at this wall. Oh no! Conan. That sucks. Okay, so that makes things not a ton easier, or excuse me, not a ton harder. But we have to walk all the way over to this side, break this wall, and get this one. Let's see if we can avoid this guy completely. Yeah. So a lot, as I mentioned before. Oh no, it comes back. Okay, so you have to leave the screen. That's right, I knew that. Cool. So another treasure chest. If you are on your achievement hunting, I've not provided a very good guide for treasure chests. For that, I apologize. It's not something that I was super interested in doing in the game. Okay, so we are going to get just a little more magic. because magic is fun. We're going to try to avoid as many of these guys as possible, because we now have a whole bunch of annoying crap that we got to do. We're going to try to gather as many of our enemies together as possible, and then use Rain of Fire.
That should end your miserable life.
We have a whole bunch of stuff we can use, which is great. A whole bunch of magic we have access to. Let's see how many guys we can get. Hopefully they all get close enough, because they want our blood. Cool. So now we also have our 3 heavy attack bros. And we have just enough for 1 more. So we're going to try to attract all 3 into the same area. And we'll see if this use of magic is good or not. I may have done a silly thing. Oh. Cool. So I think we're actually good here. I think we're able to get all these guys. And we didn't die, which is great. We now have the Inkmen. Oh! As I mentioned, these guys do way more damage than you'd expect. But luckily, we have access to Stygian Skewer. And also, the final hit of Stygian Skewer acts as sort of like a grab. So enemies who are about to be attacking you will stop attacking you as you're doing it. You'll also notice that because the combo is overused, you'll actually not get as many benefits as if you were using a bunch of different abilities throughout the fight. That's not super important for us. We just want to we want to stay healthy, and in most cases, that's a good way to do it. Cool. So there's another treasure chest there. There are quite a few treasure chests scattered throughout this level. We want to avoid getting smashed by anything over there. And we're actually on the final path to the boss. Now this boss is the first time I played it on. I believe I played this on hard. So the first time I fought this boss, I fought him. It took me. Gosh darn it! I really wanted this health, but I don't think we're gonna get it. It took me over 50 tries. I died 50 times. It was remarkably tedious and incredibly difficult. So I can't promise that it's going to be any easier this time. What you have to do is rotate these giant gears, which then remove your armor powers. You'll see that now. So there are what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe there are 6 phases of this fight. It's a lot like the Sand Dragon, in which it's really annoying. I don't believe we can skip this cutscene. So, Grayven. So this is not Ron Perlin at his best. I can say that. But we have this inky, gross, stretchy guy named Grayven. He has really long legs for days. And the first couple of phases, the first phase is really easy. It's just a straight fight, and typically smashing the heavy button will yield fairly awesome results. What happens next, though, is he enters the center of the arena and he shoots out tentacles. At this point, you're supposed to rotate the cogs that we rotated here to start the fight. Excuse me, to spin the dais, which will then remove all the power from your armor, which will hit Grayven and then initiate the next phase. The problem is that there are tons, there are Inkmen that attack, and you have these sort of spinning tentacles that are trying to hit you, as well as these Inkmen that are following you everywhere, and you're forced to run, jump, duck, and dive to beat this level. And it's really, really difficult on a casual playthrough. Like, it's really difficult. I think at one point, as I played through on King mode, I ended up dying over, like, I think I died 100 times. So he has this, in this level, he has this standard 3-hit combo. He also has an unblockable attack. It's the red one that you see. I try to fight him so that it looks fairly, so that we're kind of like fighting game style, where we can actually see each other. Otherwise, the camera can be very annoying. You can actually just jump over this if you want to keep attacking, which I typically will do. And it's great if you can get him in this kind of pattern where he doesn't do much else. But that is not always the case. So as you can see, we are sort of grinding him up right now. I'm probably going to take a couple of hits because that's just what happens in this level. He will sort of get in these cheap hits, and then I'll lose a bunch of health before the next part, which is remarkably frustrating. Let's see. Can we do it? Cool. So then there is always a quick time event. And if you miss this, you lose half of your life. You straight up lose a crap ton of life. You want to be as close to this thing as possible when he goes back under. Because, and you'll notice the blue arrow on the left. We actually want to get that as close as possible. We want to hang out right here. Why do we want to hang out right here? Well, we want to attract the Inkmen to us as close as possible. And then, we want to get hit not a lot right here. I believe this thing will go away. Yep. So we want to do this, and hopefully we get it all the way before that guy frickin' hits us. Alright, so typically that will only take two rounds. But this is okay. If you get hit, you get comboed for days by these guys. It is remarkably frustrating. So let's see if we can just get it quickly before. Nice. So that's phase 1 done. He calls, so you lose your magic. You get Rain of Fire called down on Grayven. And there you go. That's round 1. Now he has access to a long-range attack where a bunch of spikes come out of the ground. If you run away from him for a little bit, he'll probably use it. Let's see if we can get him to use it. Yep. All you gotta do is jump. You also want to stay away from these little combo guys. If you get close enough to Grayven, they will actually end up attacking Grayven, which is great, because you don't have to worry about him. They attack 4 times, so that's always something to keep in mind. They will only attack 4 times. So there you go. There's the 4th one. Cool. So let's go ahead and attack Grayven. So we're going to do the standard. I don't believe that we can actually. Okay, so you can't actually use King's Execution at this point. He spends too much time blocking. So if you attempt to go for it, he will just block it. And then he has this sort of two-handed strike, which isn't that big a deal. It comes out a little bit faster than his other one. And it has a really weird hitbox. But again, we already have him to half life, which is great. And we haven't taken a ton of damage either, which is really important for this next part. Oh, we almost pulled off the King's Execution. Yeah, so he ends up blocking a lot of those attacks, which is fairly frustrating. You can't get as much damage off as you'd like. Again, avoiding. Ooh. So, like I said, it has a weird hitbox in that it like lasts for forever. It has like this weird lingering hitbox. Okay, let's see. I think this should be enough. Oh, that was super lucky. That quick time event came up really fast, and if I had missed it, if I hadn't been mashing A to jump, I would have died there. So crap, that was nice and lucky. All right, so we want to quickly run over to the next area and get as close to this thing as possible, so that if we do die, we're spawned right here. Oh crap! No, we don't want to attack. Okay, so that sucks. We actually can't. All right, So we're just going to run right here, because no tentacles will hit us here. Now there's 2 levels, so you can't jump comfortably, and yeah, this part freaking sucks. Let's see how far we can get though. We got to get that arrow as close as we can. Okay, now run. So again, a lot of this is just waiting right here, hoping that as many of the Inkmen come over here. Also not getting comboed. Let's see if we can. Okay, great. Oop. You can dodge through them. Oop. Let's see if we can get this. Nice! We don't have a ton of health, but that is okay. I believe this is our... We're almost to the end. We have one more fight with Grayven, and then one more sort of tentacle part. We got less and less health this time. So let's see, he'll probably start off with a ground slam thingy. We avoid that. We wait for these dudes to end with their silliness. We see how much health we can get back from them. 2, 3, 4. Cool. Let's see. Alright, so that's all we get. So we gotta... So this, in this phase, Grayven has a much more powerful attack. He sort of has he has a 2-hit unblockable. We just, essentially after everything we want to get away from him. We don't have a ton of health. And this is actually a great pattern. If we can keep this up, we'll be good. He's not really doing much here. What we do want to try is see if we can get... Yeah, we still can't get it. It's a shame. So now he's off camera, which is really frustrating. But we haven't lost a ton of health yet. I assume that we are going to get blasted by Grayven at some point. Yup, right there. So he hasn't done that. He hadn't done that in such a long time that I didn't even remember it was coming. We want to get him out of this pit area. Man, I'm just lucky. Come on, man. So this is a super shitty camera. We want to get him walking out of here because it's surrounded by goop. And goop is not good because it hurts us as long as we stand in it. So there it is. That's the new attack he has. It's 2 block breakers and then an unblockable attack right there. Oh man, we definitely do not want that. So as you'll notice, Conan's kind of going airborne. Cool. So we are on to the last part of the fight, which may or may not be the most difficult part of the... Oh, fuck, I hit the wrong button. Okay, we have a little bit of life left. This is actually, I kind of would rather... You know what, I would rather die here. Let's die. That way we can start this fight from the beginning and hopefully have more health. Because I do not want to go into the next part of the fight without at least a decent amount of health. One hit, that was 1 hit's worth, and I don't want to be starting over 1,000,000 times. So let's see if we can get a little health back. Okay, they're still hitting me right at the beginning of the fight. That's not good. So now you kind of see why this part is so frustrating. We may have to take another death here. The game wasn't even loaded up yet. I didn't even have control of Conan, and I'd already taken a bunch of damage. So that's not ideal. Oof. All right, let's take one more death. Let's take one more death, and we'll try this again. So this should be the last time. I think that on lower difficulty levels, Conan actually gets a slight health increase each time that he dies and comes back. So it's a little more free. The checkpoints already are fairly forgiving, and then you get extra health on death. We do not. Oh, we want to get out of there, and that was lucky. Great. So there's a little health for us. Nice. Okay, so we didn't actually take any damage there, which is kind of nice. Sometimes that will happen. All right, we got a little magic. We don't care about that. Let's see if... all right, so we got a little health. So let's see if we can do this. Oh, so here's the block breaker. We want to avoid as many of these as we can. We would rather have him do a pattern where he doesn't use the block breaker, or he doesn't use his new 4-hit combo at all. We would much rather this. And at this point, I'm before in the first part of the game, you noticed that I was definitely willing to risk jumping over that red unblockable strike. But now that we are so low on health, it's just a lot easier to not risk it. And just hope that he keeps doing this pattern. Alright, cool. So we avoided that, luckily. So I'm hoping to get him back into the pattern where he was. There you go. Dang it. Alright. So looks like we're going to have to go a little slower here. And see if we can... Alright, he still blocks King's Execution. Yeah, so we can only do 2 strikes safely at this point. If we don't want to lose all our health, we can do a little... There you go. Oh no! Alright, you know what? We're going to finish this part. And you know what? It didn't matter. We accidentally hit the wrong button. So, you are now experiencing why this part is so annoying. It's not even annoying in that, like, it's difficult. It's annoying because the slightest mistakes are super, super punishing. So let's see what we can do. I think if we don't get it this try, I will pause the recording and I'll actually fast forward to the point where I do get it, and we'll just snap forward, and I'll let you guys know how many more times that I died. So that is, okay, so we're getting hit again off screen, which is really frustrating. 3, 4. Okay, so we got a giant health from that dude, which is great. If you'll notice that Grayven actually will attack these guys. Oh, man. Getting a combo with these guys is freaking annoying. Alright, so we can't get... It's just like small things like that that make this fairly difficult. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. Let's see if we can land any King's Executions. So there's one. Yeah, he doesn't want any more of those. Another thing you can do if you're having a hard time with this fight is Saw Blade. So if he... One more hit and we're dead. So I think this may be a skip forward, but the Saw Blades, if we do this. So there are a couple occasions where he will block, and then you can get off a free one of those. And it actually does a fairly decent chunk of damage. This is actually how I beat him the first time. It's really safe, but the problem is getting him in this pattern where he blocks nonstop is fairly difficult. Ooh, that could have been it right there. So we are one hit away from dying, which is not an ideal place to be. But we're going to see what we can do here. Okay, that's it. That's it. I'm gonna skip forward, and I'm gonna let you know how many times I die trying to get to that point. All right. See you on the other side. All right. So I beat Grayven, and we're back with some super annoying crap. So this is his final form. He shoots out tentacles like crazy. You have to avoid them, while also being really wary of the. Yeah. You have to avoid them while being very wary of the Inkmen that are all around you. Inkmen in this stage are so it's not just the four; they spawn infinitely around him. So, whereas before I was staying in one place and attracting them all to me, and then running back, we're actually going to be doing kind of a modified strat where you actually run all. Oh shoot! Oh. So one of the things you don't want to do in this is you want to pull. You want to move the cog as far as you can without going to the second stage. That in itself is it's almost always instant death. You'll be comboed by the four Inkmen around you. They do a surprising amount of damage, and then you're dead. So you want to avoid all of that. We want to get it to about halfway, right when these guys are right about there, and then we just roll away, and we try to keep pace with the tentacles, so we don't get hit. They are flying fast and furious, so we want to make sure we don't get hit. I can't remember where this one is. There you go. And if you do a good job, you will actually avoid all of the Inkmen. Let's see if we can get it. Oh, yes! Yes! So that was only a 2... What was that? A 1 death round 3. So there you go. Aside from just getting hit by dumb stuff, getting comboed in very cheap ways, boss isn't that hard. So you have one final quick time event, and the game is over. So just in this game, it's very useful to just to only mash when the button is on the screen. When it stops showing to mash, immediately stop. And there you go. This is the end. So we smash our sword through Grayven's skull. He dies, and his evil is dispersed through the world. We've totally done it. Yay us. Akana ended up dying earlier in the thing, which is not good. But she's back, well of spirits. She saves us against Grayven, and then she's actually reborn. So Conan's like, "Oh no, she's dead. She's reborn." They never see each other again. It doesn't really matter. There you go. If you guys want a story breakdown, we can do a quick thing of all the cutscenes. But there you go. So on hard, this took us 4 hours. So this is a fairly short game if you know what you're doing. This is actually the lowest number of player deaths that I've ever had in a Grayven fight. So that was 10 deaths, not too bad. I think I died 3 or 4 times after you guys saw me switch the fast forward. But there you go. That is Conan. Once you've finished the game, you get some secrets unlocked in the extras menu. So obviously all the videos and concept art, but you also get master all moves, armor power modes, which means you have access to all the power, Song of Death mode, full Song of Death, and vulnerability. So these are just some quick, easy things to do if you want to take a shot at the game while just grinding through it. But we don't want to do that. We want to stop playing this game now because we've played it a metric fudge ton. So there you go, gang. That was Conan in, 11 parts? Not too bad. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like the way this game looks, definitely pick it up. It's a fun game. Combat's super satisfying, like I said. Though it is glitchy and fairly tedious at points. But hopefully I've showed you guys efficient ways around those moments of tedium. Cool. Well, thanks so much for joining me on this quest, and I'll see you next time.